Now, ladies and gentlemen, the CTDF Fantasy Football Show is on the air once again. And this is it, folks. After 17 long weeks of competition, 256 total games played, we have arrived at the 2020 NFL playoffs. We got 6 huge games for this wild card weekend. And if this weekend is anything like previous wild card weekends in the past, boy, this is going to be another memorable one. It's me, Tim McClellan here, and we want to welcome back our good friend, the brain of sports, Mr. John Flynn. Welcome back, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having me back on.
Hey, always love to have you on, my buddy. And of course, we have our league commissioner, John Natale. He's somewhere, as you can see. I think his screen is kind of loading a little bit, but he's here. John Natale's here. There he is. There's our commissioner.
Yay.
There he is. And down here below me, my good
I lost
buddy.
my connection for a second, but I'm back on.
All right. Good to hear. And of course, below me, our good friend from San Antonio, Adam Oliver. Adam, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
All right, good to hear it, guys. Well, like I said, we have finally arrived here at the AFC and NFC wild card weekend. Playoff time is here. The regular season records don't mean anything now. It's just win and you're in, or win and you move on, lose and you go home. That's pretty much it. So, with that being said, of course, as many of you know, before this season started, the NFL commissioned 7 playoff teams from each conference. And that only meant that there would only be the top seed for each conference having the home field advantage and the first round bye. So, just laying it out for you guys. In the NFC, we have the number 1 seed, those Green Bay Packers, which I kind of figured would take number 1. And number 2 seed is the New Orleans Saints. The Packers, by the way, finished at 13-3. Number 2 seed, New Orleans Saints, they finished 12-4. Number 3, the Seattle Seahawks also finished 12-4. Number 4 seed, the Washington football team. I believe I heard this morning. I think it was this morning on ESPN. I think they're like only the 4th team to advance to the playoffs or win a division with a losing record. They finished at 7-9.
Yeah.
Then number 5. I don't know what's been wrong with my voice. Maybe I'm not getting enough Dr. Pepper. I don't know. It'd be so nice if we could get Dr. Pepper to sponsor this show. Anyway, as I was saying, number 5 seed in the NFC, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers behind Tom Brady. Like I said, new team, same old Tom. They finished 11-5. And the number 6 seed was the Los Angeles Rams at 10-6. And squeaking in by the skin of their teeth with a record of 8-8, the number 7 seed, the Chicago Bears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, under normal circumstances, they wouldn't have been in the playoff.
Yeah, who did not see that coming?
Yeah.
I guess that's pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
If this was the traditional format, they would have made the playoffs.
Right. Now for the
They were the
AFC.
extra team.
Yeah, for the AFC, the top 7 here. Of course, number 1, the defending champions, Kansas City Chiefs, going for ring number 2. They finished 14-2. Number 2 seed, the Buffalo Bills, who I think had a better season this year than they even had last year. They finished 13-3. The Pittsburgh Steelers are the number 3 seed. They finished at 12-4. Number 4 seed, the Tennessee Titans. They finished 11-5. Fifth seed, the Baltimore Ravens, finished at 11-5. So did the number 6 seed, the Cleveland Browns. And the Indianapolis Colts coming in at number 7 with a record of 11-5. So, wow, this is unbelievable. 3 teams for one division made the playoffs. Three teams from the AFC North: the Steelers, the Browns, and the Ravens.
And surprising, the Dolphins were the odd one out with 10-6.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those Dolphins. I say Dolphins will probably contend next year.
Yeah, and Brian Flores will get my vote for coach of the year. That the Dolphins were not a good roster. Yet Brian Flores and led Miami to 10 wins. After remember, this was after starting the season 0-2. And in fact, speaking of teams that started 0-2, 11 teams started the season 0-2. They all missed the playoffs.
Yep. Very difficult to start 0-2 and make the playoffs. Very difficult. But it has been done, but not all the time. So, if you guys are ready, let's go into Saturday. Now, we got 2 days of triple header football. What more can you ask for? The first matchup, 12:05 Central, 1:05 Eastern on CBS television. We got the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Buffalo Bills at Orchard Park. The Bills are picked by 6.5. So, Flynn, let's get this playoff pick'em started.
Yeah, I think Josh Allen is going to be in the conversation for offensive player of the year. First quarterback in NFL history with 4,500 passing yards in the season, 35 pass touchdowns, and 5 rushing touchdowns in the season. He has just been majestic, especially since the calendar turned to December. Sean McDermott's got it going on. Brian Dable is in the running for assistant coach of the year. The Bills have everything going on. And how about the defense that's finally turned it over after some question marks early on? That the defense is playing well. And how about the way they played in Week 17, where they really didn't have to play their starters, but Josh Allen and the Bills hung 28 on that defense in the first half, and then they showed the Dolphins the door out of the playoff conversation. So much credit to McDermott and Dable. They're treating this like a normal week, and also they're going to have 6,700 fans in lovely Western New York on Saturday as part of New York State's trial run to get fans back to the stands during the pandemic. So I think a lot of this is in mind. The Bills won 13 games, and I think they'll continue. But I think Brian Dable is going to be an NFL head coach after this coaching carousel. I think Matt Eberflus is going to be a future NFL head coach as well. And I like the Colts defense. DeForest Buckner has been sensational. He should have been named to the Pro Bowl, and Darius Leonard has been. I think he's one of the 5 best linebackers in the entire league. And also the offensive line has been fantastic. If the Colts are going to win the game, they're going to have to keep it close. They're going to have to run the football with Jonathan Taylor, who, by the way, finished 3rd in the NFL in rushing in his rookie season. But I think this comes down to Josh Allen and that offense being too much for the Colts defense. So I'll take the Bills to win this game, 31-21.
All righty then. Tally, how do you see this one?
Yeah, pretty much. Flynn summed everything up perfectly. The Colts have look really good. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor had a pretty decent rookie season, and Colts have a nice defense with Darius Leonard there. But although Phillip Rivers is the more experienced quarterback, it's not going to matter because the Bills have the better offense overall. Yeah, and my score is super close to his. I'm going to say Bills 31, Colts 24.
Oh, that is a close score to what Flynn had. Adam, what say you?
Well, it is going to be kind of interesting
but I think Josh Allen's going to be too much for the defense. With that being said, I'll take Buffalo.
And I will go ahead and make it unanimous, even though I believe that Philip Rivers and those Colts and Jonathan Taylor, they're going to make those Bills work for that victory. In fact, I actually see it closer than what the spread says. I'm going to give it to the Bills by a field goal. I'm going to give it to them 27-24. So we are all four in agreement with the Bills advancing. The late afternoon game is on Fox. It'll be at 4:40 Central, 4:40 Eastern, 3:40 Central. It's the Los Angeles Rams going to Seattle to take on the Seahawks, and Seattle is picked by 3.5. So Flynn, this very interesting matchup of two division rivals in the playoffs.
Yeah. And I don't care who's the quarterback for the Rams, whether it's Jared Goff, who is listed as questionable with his thumb injury, or John Wolford, the XFL star who guided the Rams to their victory on Sunday. I'm going to take the Rams to win the football game. I'm going to take the Rams to win the game outright and knock out Seattle. I think the Rams offense the last 2 weeks desperately missed Andrew Whitworth, the left tackle, one of the best pass blockers in the NFL. I think the Rams offense is a lot better when the All Pro tackle is in there. I think Cam Akers is going to run on that defense. I don't trust the inconsistency of Seattle's offense. I don't think Brian Schottenheimer has done a great job with the Seahawks offense in the second half. And the best example was that loss at home to the Giants and the fact that they needed to overcome a 10-point deficit to beat San Francisco last week. I think that there's some. I think that there has to raise some alarms, but I'm going to take the team with the better coach, better defense. I like McVay over Pete and I'll take the Rams defense, which was the number one overall defense in the NFL. I think that's a significant advantage for the Rams. So in the end, I'm going to take the Rams in an upset, 20-17 over the Seattle Seahawks.
20-17. Flynn is smelling an upset. Natalia, are you smelling the same thing, or are you going another direction?
Yeah, this one was kind of a tough one to decide, as most division rivalries are. I mean, this one is a kind of a true coin flip because I basically had to break it down in which team is better in which category. If you go by the quarterbacks, the Seahawks win that one easily. Russell Wilson is better than Jared Goff because he's also a great rusher too. I mean, the running back edge I would give to the Rams. Because Carson's always finding a way to get injured. And let's see, as far as the wide receivers is essentially a draw because they're good on all sides. You got like Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. They're all equally good. So with that, to break the tie, I'm going to go by the defense. And the defense, I got to give the slight edge to Seattle, especially because of Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright. I think they're going to get a few sacks on the quarterback, which will be the deciding factor here. So give me Seattle 28-17.
Sounds interesting. Adam?
Yeah, I gotta give it to Seattle. Russell Wilson's obviously the better quarterback, and overall defensively, I'm enough to go with Seattle. With in that case, I'm going to take Seattle.
All right, so I am going to go with Seattle myself. Yeah, Seattle has been a little suspect, but when they are hot, they are hot. Jared Goff's going to have a real tough time with these guys. Although I do see the Rams being contenders again for the division next year. I'm going to give it to the Seahawks by a score of 31-20. And the final game, the night game for Saturday night, is NBC, 8:15 p.m. Eastern, 7:15 p.m. Central. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Washington football team, or as I call them, the Washington No Names, or as Adam calls them, the Washington Generics, whatever you want to call them. Hopefully by the start of next year, they will have a good name. And in this game, it's a pretty good spread. Tampa is picked by 8. So, Flynn, this is the playoffs, and this is where pretty much Tom Brady just shines, you know. So, you see anything different?
I don't see anything different here. And yes, I think Todd Bowles had the most significant quote of the week leading up to this game because you're not playing against Washington, you're playing against Alex Smith, and Washington is 5-1 when Alex Smith took over as the quarterback. But I think in this football game, I think you're looking at two things. One, Tom Brady against that Washington football defense, and then you're looking at Alex Smith against Tampa's defense. So listen, you can say what you want about Tampa and the Bucks not winning games against playoff caliber teams this year, but they're still going to be a dangerous team. I think they're a dangerous side because they're able to rush the quarterback. They have Jason Pierre-Paul. They have Shaquille Barrett. They have guys who can go after the quarterback. I think the biggest mismatch of this game going to be going to be the Tampa Bay offense, the Washington offensive line against Tampa's front four. I think they're gonna make it hard for Alex Smith. And by the way, let's also keep this in mind. Philadelphia's dopey tank job on Sunday. It certainly didn't help the Eagles going forward in terms of figuring out their mess. They also didn't do Washington any favors either because Doug Peterson basically treated the fourth quarter as the fourth preseason game, bringing in Nate Sudfeld. So I'll take Tampa to win this game 28-16 over Washington.
28-16. Flynn is going with the Bucks over the football team. Natalie?
Yeah, I mean, first I got to give my props to Washington. When I did my predictions earlier in the season, I had them finishing in last place, but the complete opposite happened, and somehow they squeezed into first place. But their defense is actually what's been keeping them in games. And I think this game's going to be a lot closer than people think because Tampa might have a problem because Mike Evans got injured in the final game of the season, and he's questionable to play. So we have to see what happens with that. But even though he might not be able to play, they still have some solid options at receiving, such as Godwin, Antonio Brown, and even Gronkowski. Because I think Tampa's offense is slightly better, I'm going to give them the win here, but by a pretty small margin, 24-20.
Close there. Close. 24-20. Tampa takes it. So, Adam, what do you see here?
I will see Tampa win because they're obviously the better football team, and they got a whole bunch of targets to choose from. Gronk, Antonio Brown, and they've got a whole bunch of options to choose from. With that being said, I'm gonna have to go with Tampa.
Very interesting that you mentioned Antonio Brown's name. I think he finally learned how to keep his mouth shut. And I guess that's worked out well for him so far. And I'm gonna make it unanimous. I'm gonna say Tampa Bay, even though Washington's defense may give Tom Brady a tough time, but somehow I see Tom Brady kind of pulling out a little bit more in the fourth quarter, maybe late in the fourth quarter. I got 10. I got 34-24 Bucks over the football team, and the legend of Tom continues.
Yeah, and I also want to mention they specifically drafted Tristan Wirfs for this game against Washington to go to his front four.
Okay, those are the Saturday games. Sunday, another great triple hitter, beginning with a game that I'm really going to keep my eye on. This is one of my two games that I would definitely watch. First, we have the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Tennessee Titans in Nashville, and the Ravens are picked by 3. So, in this very tasty matchup, Flynn, who you got?
Yeah, I think this is the toughest game of the week for me to pick. And you know, if you've been listening to our podcast the last couple of years, it is no secret I love Mike Fable. It is no secret I love Arthur Smith, Derrick Henry. The Arthur Smith has cracked the code on maximizing the talents of Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill over the last couple of seasons. Derrick Henry, of course, a 2,000-yard rusher this season, which was far and away the most in the NFL. Ryan Tannehill was one of the most efficient passers in the NFL. And how about the way that they got past Washington Texans with that incredible A.J. Brown catch in the last 15 seconds of regulation to set up the winning field goal. But I think when it comes to Baltimore and Tennessee, I think Baltimore's biggest weakness last year is Tennessee's biggest weakness this year. If you saw Tennessee's games against Green Bay and Houston, that they had a very tough time going after the quarterback, and those quarterbacks were Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson. I think they're going to have more trouble with Lamar Jackson as well. This Tennessee's offense certainly I can score points in a lot of different varieties as they showcased during the season. That's why they were one of the best offensive teams in the league. But I think Baltimore's defense and I talked about this in great length during the offseason and after the draft when Baltimore selected Patrick Queen in the draft that I think Baltimore's front seven is better than Tennessee's. So I I I I want to see Tennessee and Derrick Henry go far, but I can't pick against Baltimore with the way they've played. So I'll take Baltimore to win 34-27 over the Titans.
So Flynn is flying with the Ravens. Natalie, who you got?
Yeah, this one was a true toss up. This was the closest one for me to decide. Yeah, this one could honestly go either way. Hmm. Wow. 'Cause, yeah. Yeah. Basically, what decided it for me was the quarterback. Who's got more leadership? Who's more physical? Who's faster? Who throws better? And I'm giving it to Lamar Jackson. It's going to be a very close one. It'll be a 30-27.
So John Natalie sees a field goal as the difference for this one, flying with the Ravens as well. Adam?
It is going to be a close one. Both teams are good all around, but when it, but I'm going to have to go with the team with the better kicker, and that's obviously Justin Tucker. So with that, I'm going to have to say the Ravens would win in a game-winning field goal by him.
Okay, so we got 3 going for Baltimore. I kind of examined this game a little bit in Baltimore being kind of shaky, probably in the middle part of the season. Tennessee was just revving up, and of course, congratulations to my man Derrick Henry once again. I remind you guys of the bombshell that I dropped on draft night. Hey, remember that when I drafted Derrick
Yeah,
Henry? And look how that
yeah,
and
yeah,
see
I
how
remember.
look how that worked out.
But you still didn't make the playoffs.
No, I still didn't make the playoffs, but I'm glad I did have
Yeah,
Derrick Henry on my team. He had, what was it, 2,027 yards?
Mm-hmm.
2027, the eighth running back in NFL history to go 2,000 or more in a season.
Yeah, especially in a league that worships quarterback play much more than single season running back stats. That to me is the thing that made this all happen.
Oh, yeah. And because Tennessee was so strong, it seemed like it got stronger and stronger each week. Despite the record, they got stronger and stronger. Baltimore was shaky at times here and there. Guys, you cannot be shaky in the playoffs. I am taking the upset. I'm taking the Titans behind Derrick Henry over those Ravens, 30-28. I'm taking the upset. And now we're going to take to the second game on CBS. I also heard that this game, I think it was going to be a Saturday game or a Sunday game, was going to be seen on Nickelodeon.
Mm-hmm.
I still can't comprehend. I mean, I can understand Nickelodeon is owned by the same company that owns CBS, but on Nickelodeon,
Wow.
who are they going to get for their broadcasters? Ren and Stimpy? And that would be very interesting. But anyway, this game is at 4:40 Eastern. It's the Chicago Bears against the New Orleans Saints at that Mercedes-Benz Superdome. And this is the biggest spread of the week. The Saints are picked by 9.5. So, Flynn, I gotta say this is probably going to be a lopsided victory.
Yeah, because shortly after the NBC announced the schedule for Wild Card Weekend, our good friend James Doe put on the CTDF chat this tweet from Cameron Santo. Imagine this: Bears Saints Super Wild Card playoffs on Nickelodeon. It's 4th and 1. Will Matt Nagy dare, double dare, or take the physical challenge? I mean, seriously, how the hell did Matt Nagy, with this dumpster fire offense, get the Bears to the playoffs? I mean,
I'm still boggled by it too.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but you have to give Trubisky, you have to give him credit for playing an excellent brand of football the last 5 weeks of the season. As much as Bears fans don't want to hear this, that Mitchell Trubisky was a better quarterback than Nick Foles. But in this regard, when it comes to this game, I don't think the Bears are going to win this game. I just think the Saints offense is too dynamic, and they're expected to get Alvin Kamara back from injury. I know if I'm the COVID-19 injured list in time for Sunday's game. So I think he's gonna have a big boost to this game, but I can't pick Chicago here. I'll take the Saints to move on, get another home playoff game next week, and I'll take the Saints to win 31-20.
All right, so Flynn says that the Saints will win by a score of 31-20. So Natalie, what about you?
Yeah, how the Bears made the playoffs is pretty mind-boggling. I don't think anybody expected them to make it. I think people probably expected them to make a little bit of a run, but would come up short. But the Saints are clearly the better team here. I mean, yeah, I think this is going to be the only game that's going to end in more than one score spread. This is going to be a 2-score affair here. But if this is Drew Brees' final win, and he ends it after this, it's been one hell of a career for him. Definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer when he retires. I mean, if this is his final win, let him ride off to the sunset with a 2-score victory. 32-20.
Okay, 32-20. Natalia going with the Saints. Adam, who you got?
Yeah, I agree. I think the Saints is a much better team all around. And with that being said, they're gonna. I give the Saints for the win, and they're gonna be my lock of the week.
I would agree with that. I'm going to make it unanimous. I'm going to go with the Saints. Uh, Matt Nagy. I don't know if they're going to fire him after this season, but
They won't.
oh, they won't.
No.
So hopefully they'll have a better season than this one because this is just a one and done for the Bears. I say the Saints roll over the Bears by a score of 35-20. So that's going to be good. Now the second game, the last game of Wild Card Weekend, Sunday night, NBC, 8:15 Eastern, 7:15 Central. We got another matchup of two division rivals, the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers. They, of course, met twice, of course, in the regular season. Each one won at home. This is now Browns Steelers 3 Dream Warriors. And in this matchup, the Steelers are picked by 6. Flynn.
It's certainly going to be interesting to see how the Browns operate this week in practice because they're getting some positive COVID tests, and the most significant one to me is the one that is the positive test that Kevin Stefanski was diagnosed with. So I think that losing Kevin Stefanski is going to play a major role in this game because I guess Stefanski has been great with the offense. The Browns' offense has gotten better as the season's come along with Baker Mayfield and Chubb and Hunt. But I got to go with the team but I think I have my issues with Pittsburgh and them being a cohesive offensive unit. But I think in the end, when in doubt, you pick the team with the better defense. So I'll take the Pittsburgh Steelers to win by a field goal. Pittsburgh 24, Cleveland 21.
All right. Flynn's going with the Steelers in a close one. Natalie, do you see it that close?
Yeah, I mean, I do like the scoring prediction. It's going to be fairly close. Man, I got to give the Browns a lot of credit. Yeah, they played hard this season. If I'm not mistaken, I believe this is their first playoff series since 2002.
18 years
so.
now.
18 years.
Yeah, I think their last playoffs game was Bottlegate, I believe. I think I brought that up in another broadcast one time. I'm pretty sure that was their last playoff game.
The Bottlegate, I think, was the regular season game against Jacksonville. I think a few years earlier.
Oh, okay, that's right. You're correct. But yeah, but as far as this game goes, yeah, it's actually going to be pretty interesting. It's going to go toe to toe. But I got to go with the team that's a little bit more rested, and that's Pittsburgh. Considering they rested Ben Roethlisberger, yeah, Connor didn't play much, so both of them are going to be well rested going into this game. I'm actually going to take a chance here. I think this game could very well go into overtime. I'm going to take the Steelers game-winning touchdown by their backup running back, Benny Snell, 30-24.
Wow.
And Benny Snell is the running back than James Conner, by the way.
What was that? Benny Snell's what?
Better running back than James Conner.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Very, very interesting. So, Adam, what do you say on this one?
Well, I know the Browns are going to try to make it interesting, but I've got to go with the better team. I have to take Pittsburgh for the win.
Okay. Well, I really looked this game up and down, left and right, all sides and all shapes. Pittsburgh had a great year. It's been another great year, even though they were at shaky times and Ben's been hurt a little bit here and there, but I hope Ben's at 100%. Baker Mayfield He's a nice young quarterback who's got some skills behind him. Cleveland has been dogged all the way through the year. Pittsburgh has been a little bit, not too shaky, but a little bit shaky. I just had to go with the team who I felt had the better mojo, who I think has really have a better drive from what I've seen from these two teams all season long. I'm pulling the trigger. I'm seeing an upset. This is my upset special. The Cleveland
Ooh,
Browns will win this one by a
Oh,
score of
wow.
31-28. And it's going to be
oh,
party time in Cleveland for their first playoff win. I can't remember the last time the Browns had a playoff win. But yeah, that's how I see it. I'm going with the Browns. Upset special.
Yeah.
I hear y'all out there. I hear y'all. You say I'm crazy. Yes, I am crazy. So, yeah, I'm going with the Browns. I mean, that Baker Mayfield's gotten better and better every week. So, well, anyway, that's pretty much our picks because we only got 6 games for this week,
Mhm.
and then next week we have the divisional round playoffs. And after that's championship Sunday, conference championships, and then if I'm not mistaken, we don't even have to worry about a Pro Bowl. I mean, like
No,
nobody
we
watched
don't.
it. I guess we just
I'm just pulling up the stats. You're gonna have to go way back to 1994. The
19.
94 the 94 playoffs in New January 1st to January 1st, 1995.
And,
And
and, and who is the head coach of those teams, Adam? Of that Cleveland
Um,
Browns team? You know,
not exactly.
uh,
Bill Belichick.
Bill Belichick, he was the coach of the Browns, and who are they playing against?
They the Browns they played against. I think they played it. Oh, let me go back at here. It says that they beat they beat the Patriots.
So okay, so the '90s Patriots. That
Nine, nine,
probably.
That was Drew Bledsoe's second season because he got drafted in '93, then '94.
So that was
Mm.
Drew Bledsoe for the Patriots.
Yeah.
Wow, wow, yeah, but
yeah, that
that's,
is interesting that Bill Belichick was the coach of the Browns back in the 90s.
yeah.
Yeah, and I believe the coach of the Patriots in '94. I think it was Drew Bledsoe. And it wasn't Bledsoe. It was Bill Parcells.
I believe you may be right about that. I think you are.
And remember, Bill Belichick.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is. Yes, it is. It was Bill Parcells.
yeah, and in the '80s, Bill Belichick was the defensive coordinator for the Giants under Bill Parcells, and he was the one that dialed up that game plan to have Thurman Thomas run for 100 yards in the Super Bowl in order for the Giants to win.
Yeah, Thurman Thomas, the Hall of Famer. Well, anyway, I got one more
And
question.
and
I got one more question. I want to talk about each of the conferences, the 7 teams in each conference. Uh, who would be like a dark horse to make a real deep run? I for the NFC, I would probably venture. I could probably say the Rams could make a deep run, but of course I picked Seattle to beat them. And for the AFC, my dark horse to make a deep run will probably be either Cleveland or Buffalo. It most likely be Cleveland, but what do you think, Flynn?
That's See, I think the two biggest threats to Kansas City are the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. That means because Baltimore is completely healthy now. They're gonna come out of Tennessee this weekend in full force. But then how about the Bills? I think Kansas City, Buffalo, and Baltimore are 1, 2, 3 best teams in the AFC. But Pittsburgh had a great season, and they won most of the games they were supposed to. They went 12-4 and won the division. But I don't know if the Rams would in the NFC, because if the Rams beat Seattle, they're probably gonna have they're gonna have to play the Packers, and the Packers will they have to Green Bay at Lambeau, and the Packers will have the extra week off because they got the first round bye. So I don't know about the Rams. One team that could give Green Bay problems, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs blew out the Packers earlier in the season. Granted, the Packers did not have Devontae Adams available for that game because of injury. But I think the Tampa's pass rush, that a common theme we've seen from Super Bowl winners, that those teams have a pass rush that illuminates at the right time. So I think Tampa is someone that can challenge Green Bay. I think the Saints are a tougher match for Green Bay, because I think that they can match up defensively with them. So that's going to be something for the Packers to contend with, but not for this weekend. They can watch, stay away from COVID, and watch their opponent for next week.
Interesting. Natalie, you want to make a comment on who you think could make a deep run?
Yeah, I was thinking for the AFC, maybe the Titans, because they have the most difficult game on the schedule to predict. That can go either way. I mean, if the Titans win, I think they might have a legitimate shot. As far as the NFC, I'm gonna be with you on the Rams, because division rival games are very hard to predict sometimes. I mean, if the Rams can pull it off, they might have a chance. It depends on how well they can stand up against the Packers. So yeah, mine would be the Rams and the Titans.
All right, Adam, you see any good teams that could make a deep run?
Well, well, I know I could see either. I could see. I could see maybe Buffalo or maybe to Tennessee. Let's see. As for the NFC, it could possibly the Rams, if they possibly the Rams.
Possibly the Rams. Possibly, yeah, I would think so. I would think like I said, I think it might be the Rams for the NFC, and maybe the Browns or the Bills for the AFC. But we'll just have to see what happens. So that is your wild card weekend preview. The playoffs are here, folks, and I know y'all gonna be watching the games. I'm gonna be keep my eye on those two games on Sunday, definitely. So, y'all, we'll be doing this again. Same time, same bat time, same bat channel. We're back on Thursdays now, so don't worry about it. Y'all be sure check out John Flynn with Hooked on Sports anywhere you find podcasts, whether it's Spotify, Apple, iTunes, anywhere. He's got great stuff, and he is updating it all the time. He's got great stuff. John Natale, our commissioner, thank you for being here, buddy. And Adam Oliver,
Of course.
our good buddy, Hook 'em Horns. Oh, Adam, I should let you know. I don't know if you heard, but our quarterback Sam Elliger has declared for the draft.
Oh, that is gonna be interesting to see. Yep, and as for the Longhorns, they got rid of Herman, and we're gonna have to get a different coach.
Oh, they already got one. Steve Sarkisian.
Oh, Sarkisian. Let's see how he does.
Yeah, well, we'll find out about that. And
Yeah, is Sarkeesian coaching gonna coach for Alabama for the national championship game next week?
Oh,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I think I don't know. Is that Tom Herman's out? Steve Sarkisian is in at Texas. Um, I'm not too sure about that, but well, we'll just see what happens. So enjoy the games, everybody. Week one of the playoffs, wild cards, and like I said, there have been some great wild card games in the past. I wouldn't be surprised if there's maybe one or two this weekend. So next week we'll talk about divisional playoff matches as we get closer and closer to Super Bowl 55 at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. So on behalf of my buddies, John Flynn, John Natale, Adam Oliver, my name's Tim McClellan. Thanks for joining us as always. Remember, be a good sport, and we'll see you next time. See ya.
all right.